Everest sees 66% summit success. Annapurna sits at under 20%. One mountain stands 800 meters taller. The other rejects climbers at more than 3 times the rate. What makes a mountain truly hard to climb? Not height, not deaths. The refusal rate, the percentage who turn back without reaching the summit. These peaks don't just kill, they reject. They turn back the best climbers on Earth before they ever touch the top. We rank the world's most difficult mountains by failed summit percentage. The results redefine everything you thought you knew about mountaineering difficulty. Mount Washington stands 1,916 meters in New Hampshire, a hill by mountain standards, but it's claimed over 150 lives since 1849. The summit temperature drops to 50 degrees. Winds hit 372 km/h, the world record from 1934 to 1996. According to the Mount Washington Avalanche Center, rescuers conduct 25 operations annually. Weather shifts from Boston sunshine to Arctic storm in hours. The tourist cable car creates false confidence. People arrive unprepared. They don't understand the difference between city weather and mountain conditions. From New Hampshire, we climb to Tanzania. Kilimanjaro rises 5,895 meters, a giant compared to Washington. No technical climbing required, just walking. Yet 35 to 55% fail to summit. Route length determines success. The 5-day Marangu route sees 27% success. The 8-day Northern Circuit pushes success to 85%. The difference? Acclimatization time. 77% of climbers experience altitude sickness. 30,000 people attempt the summit annually. 1/3 never make it. The mountain doesn't demand technical skill. It demands time the body needs to adapt. Now we drop to Colorado. Long's Peak stands 4,346 meters tall. A 14er accessible from Denver in just a few hours. The failure rate sits at 47%. The Keyhole route features what climbers call nervy terrain. Afternoon thunderstorms roll in with predictable violence. Rockfall kills on steep sections. But the real problem is accessibility. Weekend warriors drive up, start climbing, and discover too late they're unprepared. The trailhead brings crowds. The crowds bring inexperience. Inexperience brings failure. These 3 mountains share a pattern. Accessibility inflates failure rates. When anyone can reach the base, many who shouldn't will try. Mount Washington offers a cable car. Kilimanjaro promises a trek, not a climb. Long's Peak sits hours from a major city. Easy access doesn't mean easy summit. It means more people fail because more unprepared people try. The paradox cuts deeper than you'd expect. Kilimanjaro, nearly 6,000 meters tall, has almost zero mortality. Mount Washington, barely 2,000 meters, has killed over 150. Height doesn't determine danger. Neither does technical difficulty. Accessibility combined with underestimation creates the perfect conditions for failure and death. Weather compounds the problem. Mount Washington's position in New Hampshire creates extreme conditions. Kilimanjaro's equatorial location means less oxygen than you'd find at the same altitude elsewhere. Long's Peak's afternoon storms are so predictable that experienced climbers start at 3 a.m. to summit and descend before weather turns deadly. The lesson from these accessible killers: proximity doesn't mean safety. A mountain you can drive to can still reject you. A mountain with no ropes or ice axes can still turn you back. The failure rate tells the truth that height and reputation hide. Accessibility filters nobody out. Remote mountains force climbers to prove commitment just reaching base camp. These peaks let anyone try. The mountain then decides who continues and who retreats. Now we climb higher. Remoteness filters out the casual, but failure rates stay brutal for different reasons. From accessible peaks, we cross into territory where skill alone isn't enough. Cerro Torre rises 3,128 meters in Patagonia, a tower of ice-covered rock pointing at the sky. Climbers must navigate vertical and overhanging sections. The route switches between rock climbing and ice climbing. Weather windows last hours, not days. Coastal storms from southern Patagonia can trap climbers for a week. The mountain doesn't keep reliable statistics. Deaths happen in private cases, unreported in databases. What makes Cerro Torre infamous isn't the numbers, it's the mystery. In 1959, Italian climber Cesare Maestri claimed the first ascent. His companion Tony Egger died during descent. According to Maestri, The camera with proof of their summit fell with Egger's body. Many didn't believe the story. Later, Egger's body was discovered. No camera. In 2015, climber Rolando Garibaldi studied Maestri's photographs from the expedition. Maestri claimed one photo showed Egger climbing the lower slabs of Cerro Torre. Garibaldi proved the photo was taken on the opposite side of the massif. Even if they were scouting an easier route, the photo contradicts Maestri's accounts. Debates continue. The mountain keeps its secrets. We stay in Pakistan. Pointha Brak stands 7,285 meters. Climbers call it the Ogre. The name fits. The mountain has been conquered exactly 3 times. The first ascent came in 1971. Doug Scott broke both legs on the way down. Chris Bonington broke 2 ribs and developed pneumonia. A storm pinned them on the mountain for a week. They crawled to base camp. Both survived. 30 years passed before the second ascent in 2001. The third came in 2012. More than 20 expeditions failed between these successes. The Ogre doesn't have a reputation for mass death. It has something worse, a reputation for being nearly impossible. Even the world's best climbers approach this granite tower with respect, bordering on fear. Steep slopes, technical climbing at high altitude, and storms that arrive without warning create a mountain that simply refuses most who try. From Pakistan, we cross to Switzerland. The Eiger rises 3,967 meters in the Bernese Alps. Climbers know it for the north face, the Nordwand. Germans call it Mordwand. Murder Wall. The north face is a fractured cliff 1 to 800 meters high. No sun reaches it. Climbers navigate in cold conditions with rapidly changing weather. Falling rocks and ice turn the wall into a shooting gallery. The west flank was first climbed in 1858. The north face wasn't conquered until 1938. 80 years later, at least 64 climbers have died attempting the summit. About 700 successful climbs have been recorded on the Nordwand. British climber Kenton Cool, who has summited the world's highest peaks, described it this way: "This mountain is one of the biggest alpine climbs in Europe. It's wonderful in good conditions, but it has its own weather system and it can become very dangerous very quickly." These 3 mountains share technical demands that filter out all but the most skilled. Cerro Torre requires switching between climbing styles on vertical ice. Pointha Brak demands sustained technical climbing at altitudes where oxygen thins. The Eiger's north face combines objective dangers, rockfall, ice, cold, with routes that demand precision and focus. Technical difficulty explains some failures, but the true rejection happens higher, where thin air meets extreme altitude. Above 8,000 meters, the rules change. The air holds 30% of the oxygen found at sea level. The body begins dying. Climbers call it the death zone. 2 mountains guard the entrance to this realm, and both reject climbers at rates that defy their reputations. Dhaulagiri stands 8,167 meters in Nepal on the western slope of Annapurna, the 7th highest peak in the world. The first ascent came in 1960. Since then, more than 480 climbers have summited via the standard route, but the southern face has never been climbed, not once. Reinhold Messner, the first to summit Everest solo without oxygen, failed here. The south wall has stood unconquered for 64 years. The Rupel face rises nearly 5,000 meters of rock and ice. At that altitude, what might be manageable lower down becomes impossible. Death rates vary by source. Some cite 70 deaths. Others mention 85 as of December 2021. Some claim 140. The Himalayan database puts the death-to-success ratio at 21.9% in 2021, dropping to 13.5% in 23. What's clear, steep slopes and sharp altitude gain create conditions where even reaching the standard route demands everything a climber has. The avalanche risk never stops. Weather remains unpredictable. From Dhaulagiri, we move to the border of India and Nepal. Kangchenjunga rises 8,568 meters, the 3rd highest mountain in the world. Mortality ranges from 15% to 22%. More than 50 climbers have died here, but Kangchenjunga breaks a pattern seen everywhere else. On most dangerous peaks, death rates decrease over time. Better knowledge of routes, more professional climbers, modern equipment, weather forecasting. Kangchenjunga is the exception. Deaths are increasing. In 2013, 5 climbers reached the summit. One was Zsolt Eros, who had summited 10 of the 14 peaks over 8,000 meters. All 5 disappeared during descent. Their bodies were never found. Over the past decade, the mountain has claimed 9 lives. From a technical perspective, experts don't rank Kangchenjunga among the most difficult. What makes it dangerous is altitude combined with conditions. Variable weather arrives without warning. Avalanches and rockfall are constant. Climbers face oxygen deprivation at the summit. The descent involves 45 to 50 degree slopes while the body shuts down from lack of oxygen. The path to the summit has been reached fewer than 300 times. Everest, 800 meters taller, has seen over 6,000 summits. The comparison reveals what failure rates measure. Kangchenjunga doesn't attract crowds. It doesn't offer commercial expeditions with Sherpa support and fixed ropes. The mountain filters climbers through reputation alone. Those who attempt it are among the world's best. Even they fail at brutal rates. These 2 mountains guard the threshold of extreme altitude. Dhaulagiri proves that one unconquered face can define a mountain's difficulty more than 100 successful ascents on easier routes. Kangchenjunga proves that even the best climbers, with the best equipment, the best conditions, can simply vanish. The death zone begins at 8,000 meters, but rejection begins the moment you see these peaks and understand what they demand. Altitude alone defeats climbers here. What comes next combines altitude with architecture designed to kill. Nanga Parbat rises 8,126 meters in Pakistan, the 9th highest peak in the world. Climbers call it Killer Mountain. The name isn't metaphor. The route to the summit runs along a narrow ridge. On the southern side stands the Rupal Face, the largest rock and ice wall on Earth at nearly 5,000 meters. Slopes vary from 40 to 90 degrees. The first successful ascent via a safer route came in 1954 by Herman Buell. Before that, Nanga Parbat claimed at least 31 lives. The Rupal Face was conquered in 1970. Since then, only a few have repeated the achievement. Successful ascents remain rare. Until 1990, the mortality rate reached 77%. Now it fluctuates between 20.7% and 22%. More than 60 climbers have died here. Weather makes everything worse. Nanga Parbat sits in the western Himalayas, surrounded by lower mountains. The position creates gale force winds and extreme changeability. Conditions shift from manageable to lethal in hours. In 1934, the mountain hosted what was then the deadliest tragedy in mountaineering history. Willy Merkel led a well-funded expedition with full German government support. Climber Alfred Drexel died at the start. Then a storm hit the slope. The group retreated. 9 people died from exhaustion, altitude sickness, and exposure. Merkel was among them. Only Ang Sering survived, spending a week in the storm before descending alone. Joe Simpson's book, The Beckoning Silence, notes the tragedy has no parallel in mountaineering history due to the length of the agony. From Pakistan, we cross to the border with China. K2 stands 8,611 meters, the second tallest mountain in the world, the northernmost 8,000er on the planet. Known as the Savage Mountain, mortality sits at 23 to 25%. Around 80% of climbers fail to summit. Climbers describe K2 as a giant pyramid of ice, snow, and rock. The easiest route involves traversing glaciers and climbing steep rocks under extreme temperatures, strong winds, snowfalls, and oxygen deficiency. The bottleneck. Here, climbers navigate an overhanging ice feature. The ice blocks are unreliable. They collapse, often with climbers on them, but this is the quickest route to the summit. It minimizes time in the death zone. The choice becomes, risk the bottleneck or risk prolonged exposure to altitudes where the body dies. Alan Arnett, who has climbed the world's highest peaks, describes K2 as an experience beyond extreme. The physical strain becomes so severe that climbers can't eat. They can't sleep. The body shuts down. More people have been to space than to K2's summit. For every 4 who reach the top and survive, 1 dies. August 2008 marks the darkest moment in K2's history. 11 climbers from several groups died on the slope. 3 others were injured. The full circumstances of the accidents and avalanche remain unknown. K2 nearly topped this ranking. Death rate sits at 23 to 25%. Failure rate exceeds 80%. The mountain combines every factor that defeats climbers: extreme altitude, technical difficulty, objective dangers, weather that kills, and isolation that prevents rescue. But one mountain rejects climbers at a rate no other can match. Annapurna stands 8,091 meters in Nepal, the 10th highest mountain in the world, the highest mortality among 8,000ers, the mountain that rejects climbers at a rate no other peak can match. As of 2012, 191 climbers had summited. At least 61 died, 52 during ascent, 9 during descent. In 2014, a snowstorm struck Annapurna and the surrounding area. Avalanches killed 43 people. Later sources mention at least 72 deaths total on the mountain. As of May 2023, the death rate stood at 27.2%. Only a few hundred have reached Annapurna's summit in recorded history. Everest, 800 meters taller, has seen over 6,000 summits. The comparison defines what failure means on the world's most resistant peak. Tour operators worldwide organizing expeditions advise clients to skip Annapurna entirely. Visit tea houses in the Copra Ridge area instead. The routes are manageable only by the world's best climbers. Even they fail at rates exceeding 80%. What makes Annapurna reject climbers? Nearly everything works against success. Steep, rocky sections force technical climbing at extreme altitude. Weather becomes unpredictable without warning. Storm risk remains high throughout climbing season. Avalanche-prone terrain means the mountain itself can collapse onto climbers. The remoteness from populated areas eliminates quick rescue or urgent assistance. Low temperatures in the death zone push bodies beyond limits. But the real measure of difficulty isn't death rate, it's rejection rate. Everest sees 66% summit success. 1/3 fail, but 2/3 succeed. Commercial operations, Sherpa support, fixed ropes, and weather forecasting have made the world's tallest mountain accessible to experienced climbers with money and time. Annapurna sees under 20% success. 8 out of 10 who attempt never touch the summit. The mountain doesn't offer commercial routes. It doesn't provide safety through infrastructure. It simply stands there and refuses. Height doesn't equal difficulty. Everest proves that. Rejection rate does. Annapurna proves that. The mountain says no to the best climbers on Earth. It turns them back before they summit. And when it doesn't turn them back, it often kills them on descent. The lesson from Annapurna rewrites everything mountaineering teaches about difficulty. The tallest peaks aren't the hardest. The most famous aren't the most dangerous. The mountains that reject the highest percentage of climbers, those are the true tests of human limits. Annapurna doesn't need to be the tallest. It doesn't need to be the most remote. It just needs to stand there, 8,091 meters of rock, ice, and refusal, and wait for climbers to understand what rejection means. Turning back isn't failure here, it's survival. Pushing forward when the mountain says no is often fatal. The 80% who retreat made the right choice. The mountain told them no. They listened. The hardest mountains aren't the tallest. They're the ones that say no, again and again. Annapurna rejects 8 out of 10 who try. Which of these peaks would you dare attempt? Subscribe for more untold mountain stories.